The Dragon Ball community has been divided by a number of different debatable topics. One of these topics include whether or not Dragon Ball GT is a good series, or if it's simply Toei original trash, just like most of the movies. I'm gonna get death threats for saying that, but today we will be discussing the real reason I think GT gets so much hate. So let's get right on into the video, guys. What's going on, all you sexy, messy, flexy, pexy motherfuckers? It's your boy T-Dub, aka Mr. Buttersmooth, back on the mic. And like I said earlier in the video, we're gonna be discussing, the real reason people just really don't like GT. Now I have 5 different things here, and I will not be bringing up plot holes or the fact that it's not canon, because one, the fact that it's not canon really has nothing to do with the argument. It's just a scapegoat that people use because they're probably bandwagoning on the GT hate and have nothing else to say. And number 2, I'm not gonna bring up plot holes because, in all honesty, if that was the reason that people really didn't like GT, people would fucking despise Super. They wouldn't like Z, and Dragon Ball doesn't really have that many, but there are some there. So if people really didn't like GT because of the plot holes, they wouldn't like Z, and they definitely wouldn't like Super. They wouldn't like any other movies. That's just not a reason, okay? So I'm not gonna be bringing up those 2 things. So let's get right on into it. With number 1 is the fact that Goku is back to a kid. I think a lot of people really didn't like this because they probably saw Z before they even saw Dragon Ball. Most of them probably even saw like Z and not Dragon Ball, and it just went back into GT and didn't really get to see Goku as a kid. So, you know, a lot of people were really turned off by the fact that Goku was a kid. They thought he was too childish, and, you know, he just wasn't up to the role of being this great superhero that the dub tried to make him to be. Well, the anime in general tried to make him to be, really. And, you know, Goku being a kid couldn't really relate, you know what I'm saying? Even though the majority of the audience probably was kids, the older people, like the teenagers and the adults, really didn't like that. I mean, it just wasn't relatable. But anyways, though, moving on to number 2, the first arc was really boring. Now, I really do not like the Black Star Dragon Ball saga. Like, yeah, it has some cool moments here and there. Yeah, it has some cool fights here and there. But in all honesty, it just doesn't catch my attention, and I feel like a lot of people, it didn't catch their attention either. Not only did they not understand the original Dragon Ball humor, because let's be honest, Z's humor wasn't quite on the level that the original Dragon Ball's humor was. So GT throwing in some of that original Dragon Ball humor, a lot of people were probably turned off by it. They didn't really like it. And then the fight scenes in the first arc were nowhere near as good as the fight scenes that they were used to in Z. So a lot of people just said probably fuck it and didn't really go into the series with an open mind. They were just like, oh, this is just not as good as Z, because that first arc really didn't hook them in. Now let's get to number 3. The characters, straight up, they just look like bitches. Unless you're Goku, and even if you are Goku gets bitched around a whole bunch during GT, and you know what I'm saying, people really don't like that. They don't like seeing their favorite characters become bitches, even though that's really what happened at the end of Z. Unless you were Saiyan, you were pretty much useless, and that's what's happening now in Super. But people are complaining about it now in Super. They don't like 1 or 2 characters being the main focus and no one else really having a role. At least in Super, the characters are there to provide comedy. In GT, they really weren't there at all. Like, it was like, remember when Trunks got injured in that car accident? Come on, tell me you weren't like, what? Like, that just like is stupid. So the characters looking like bitches compared to Goku, and even Goku being bitched around. You know, a lot of people just really don't like that. Now, number 4, a lot of you may be surprised by this, but I feel like one of the reasons why people really don't like GT is because it was just too short. Like, especially with a lot of people really not liking the first arc. That takes up a chunk of only 64 episodes. Even Super is pretty much confirmed at this point to be longer than GT. And you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people just really don't like that. They really don't like the first arc. Some people really didn't like the Super 17 arc, and so they're really just stuck with 2 arcs in 64 episodes that they somewhat like. And I just feel like, you know, a lot of people really don't like that. You know, they don't appreciate that. They're like, oh, it should have been longer, you know, blah blah blah. But anyways, though, I just feel like that is one of the real reasons that people just don't like GT, is because it's just simply too short. It's too short. I feel like if it would have been longer, they would have fleshed out the characters a little more. Probably, you know what I'm saying, maybe introduce some new heroes, who knows. But GT, I just feel like it was too short. And number 5, compared to Z, there are no real epic transformations. I personally love Super Saiyan 4. I love the whole concept of going Golden Ozaru and then having to control that to harness the true power of a Super Saiyan and go Super Saiyan 4. I fucking love that. But a lot of people, you gotta understand, were coming off transformations like when Goku snapped against Frieza and went Super Saiyan, when Gohan snapped against Cell and went Super Saiyan 2, and when Goku busted out Super Saiyan 3 against Buu. And you know, the English dub fans with the Falconer music had that epic song playing. There was none of that in GT, and I feel like that is the main reason, like one of the main reasons why people just do not like GT. But anyways, though, those have been my 5 reasons to why GT isn't liked by a lot of the Dragon Ball fan base. If you like or don't like GT, leave a comment down below discussing this. Subscribe if you haven't already. I do Dragon Ball, but I also do other anime such as Hunter x Hunter and My Hero Academia. I do reviews, discussions like this video is, and gameplays on a whole bunch of anime stuff. So anyways, though, guys, that's been it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. This has been your boy T-Dub, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.